Yeah, good morning. We was talking last night about fighters, and most of these fighters are dead. Actually, I think all of them are dead now. You know what I mean? And it's a shame that they've all gone. You know, some have gone by accident, some have gone by drink, some have gone by drugs, and I think really that maybe I'm one of the only ones left, and I'm one of the only ones really that left to train. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm talking about we were talking about Harry Starbuck last night, and just saying I was talking about Harry. Harry Starbuck could have a fight on the coals. A good fighter, mate. You know, he looked after his own pubs and them sort of fit places. You know, and he was sometimes. I remember Harry when he was supposed to fight Lenny McLean at Harvey Social Club Woolwich, and Harry Starbuck come. Uh, Lenny never showed up, so Harry Starbuck was a bit peed off, and there was a big uh, black guy there, massive black guy, you know. He had arms down to his legs, and his kneecaps rather, you know, and he was massive, mate. And Eddie Richardson said, well, you know, and Terry Coombs said, you know, like, do you fancy fighting this guy here? And he said, no, he was a bit peed off that Lenny never showed up. So I wound up fighting the guy, but I was compared that night, you know. But anyway, I bit the guy's ear off, his ear off, yeah. And because I was a little bit pissed as well. Yeah, I bit the guy's ear off. I think otherwise the geezer would bash me up. You know what I mean? Bet the geezer jumps out of the ring. Anyway, talking about Harry Starbuck. I mean, Roy Shaw beat Harry. I believe Roy Shaw stopped him. I was a bit surprised, you know, because I thought Harry had done Roy, because he was a good fighter. Harry, he could have a fight on the cobbles as well, a real fight on the cobbles. You know, you get a lot of them fighters that could fight on the cobbles, you know, but when they got in the ring, it's a different kettle of fish. Even though, even though unlicensed fighting was a little bit, how can I say, a little bit violent compared with boxing, there was lots of times I've seen I've seen unlicensed fighters nut someone, bite someone, take their gum shield out, bite them. I've done it myself, yeah, and you know, put the elbow in and all that. The referee will warn you about 3 times, yeah, and by the time the third time comes, the guy's in a terrible state anyway. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, but when that Harry fought, as I say, he fought Roy Shaw. Roy Shaw beat him. I was a bit surprised though. I was really surprised about that. Sid Paddock, um, Harry Starbuck. I was told last night that he beat Sid Paddock, and Sid Paddock was a good fighter. I fought Sid, but Sid Paddock fought John O'Gardner. I think John O'Gardner stopped him, but he was still a good fighter. Sid and his brother Kevin done the circuit. You know, they both fought a heavyweight. Well, Sid was a heavyweight. Kevin Paddock was a blown up middleweight. Yeah, but Sid, I like Sid. He had long sideburns, everything. Sid, he was a nice guy. But they won Southampton. They was the governors of Southampton. You know, Sid. You know, rest in peace, mate. Sid Paddock. I was told that he got hit by a bus, yeah, and he lost his leg. And being that Sid was a great fighter, and he always trained, he always run with his brother Kevin, and they would spar together. You know, to lose your leg, you know, is like, I think that's what killed him. You know, at the end of the day, losing that leg, mate. Anyway, he died. Rest in peace, Sid Paddock. Nice guy. Kevin Paddock. Kevin Paddock, mate. He was one hard man. He's fought a lot of people, Kevin. I don't think he lost any fights as an unlicensed fighter. I fought him. He said I fought him at Guildford Pally. But anyway, yeah, if he said that, that's what I did. You know, that's what I thought my boxing was somewhere else, but it doesn't really matter, does it? But Kevin Paddock, good fighter, mate. He used to scream at me, Kevin, in the ring. You know, let's have a real fight, you know what I mean? But I've been fighting him for nearly 8 rounds, you know what I mean? But anyway, he was a hard man, Kevin Paddock. Really hard, yeah. And he was a blown up middleweight. Yeah, and he loved when we had the fight. and the fight ended, and we become quite good pals, me and Kevin Paddock. And I took them actually to the Harp and Heron, Billy Hayward's pub, and Harry Hayward's pub, and Harry Starbuck also come as well. And they had a quite good drink. That was getting pissed, and as I say, I don't drink, so I really didn't want to stay there. So I left early. Jimmy Tibbet told me the next day, because Jimmy Tibbet went there as well. That they had a great time. They really had a good time. All paralytic drunk. Billy Hayward took them, and Harry Hayward took them downstairs to the cell there under the pub. That was unbelievable. I mean, I see that when Harry Hayward took me downstairs and showed me the cell under the pub. Any time he felt like doing something really bad, like an armed robbery or something like that, he'd go in that cell, bang the door, and not like a real door, not like a real cell door, but bang the door, and sit in there and go, "It's ain't for me, mate. I don't want this no more." You know what I mean? And I suppose in a way that's a deterrent, isn't it? You know what I mean? Especially if you're gonna be in there for like 15, 20 years. It's a right deterrent. Anyway. Kevin Paddock. I thought Kevin Paddock, I fought him at he said Guildford, and me and him went 8 rounds. That's one of the hardest fights that I've ever had with Kevin Paddock. Kevin Paddock put me through it. He was getting in the clinch and telling me to fight. Come on, let's get into one. Let's fight. And I've been fighting for every round. You know what I mean? To win. And no dirtiness. It was all proper boxing. And he can bang. Kevin could bang. Even though he was a middleweight blowing up heavyweight, he could bang, mate. And he put it. When I say he could bang, it wasn't a one banger, but he put it together consistently. Bang, 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 left, right. And when I see him fight Lenny McLean, I see him fight Lenny. Me, Jimmy Tibbet was there. Terry Coombs, Terry Sharp. I think I'm not quite sure, but Eddie Richmond was there. But we all went there, to watch Kevin fight Roy Shaw, fight Lenny McLean, because after that fight, I was going to fight Kevin. That's after the fight that I was going to fight him. I wanted to see what it was like, and he really, really bashed up Lenny. Lenny come out of the corner and put his fist on top of Kevin Paddock's head, taking the mickey really. And I really thought that Lenny, being a big man like he was, maybe would have bashed up Kevin. Kevin wasn't really that big then. I think Kevin was about 13.5 stone. But he come out, Lenny, put his hands on top of his head, and Kevin Paddock, mate, just bang, bang. You get a good middleweight, a good pro boxer. He just slipped Lenny. After Lenny put his head, bang, slip, bang, bang, bang. He hit him 3 or 4 times, but every time Lenny come into Kevin Paddock would hit him 4, 5, 6 times, and Lenny had no chance. He just bashed Lenny up. He bashed him up. He well beat him. And then when I see Kevin fight Lenny, that was my next fight, Kevin Paddock. And we had a good fight. We had a really good fight. Sid, we had a good fight. We had a draw. Another good fight. Sid could bang. I like Sid Paddock, mate. Sideballs down there. I liked him. Shame what happened anyway. But Harry, me and Harry never got to fight. Me and Harry Starbuck, and we was always, I can't say loggerheads, because he was such a nice guy. He was such a nice guy, Harry Starbuck. No nastiness there. He was, and he looked after his own pubs, and he could have a right fight. He could have a right fight. And when, I was supposed to be compere at Harvey Social Club, I went down there with Jimmy Tibbet. I didn't get paid for it. I was just there, and going in, jumping in the ring and all that. And people saying there's like I'm the governor, and all that going with it. But anyway, when Harry Starbuck was supposed to fight Lenny there that night, Lenny never showed up, because Lenny never showed up to quite a lot of fights. I don't know why, but Lenny didn't show up to quite a lot of fights. But anyway, Harry Starbuck was a bit pissed off, and Eddie Richardson and Terry Coombs, and also Jimmy. Um, there was of course, Harry Starbuck and Lenny was top of the bill, and because he never showed up, there was a big black guy come in, and this black guy was a big man, mate. He had his arms come down to his kneecaps, and he was a big lump. He was a big lump, yeah. And I remember Eddie saying to Harry Starbuck, "Look, will you fight him? This is like top of the bill. Will you fight him?" Harry Starbuck was not saying that he wouldn't fight him because he was fighting him, but he was pissed off. Yeah, he said, "No, I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting." So then they come up to me because I was a heavyweight, and they didn't want. They wanted people to see, have a good show. Would I fight him? I said, "Look, I'd had two lagers of me make me piss, yeah." I said, "Well, but anyway, Jimmy talked to me, Eddie Richardson talked to me. I said, all right, I'll fight this guy." And I put Harry Starbuck stuff on because, I didn't have no gear. And yeah, I got in the ring, and this guy was a bit lively. You couldn't get near him. He was punching, he was like giving me grief, yeah. So in the end, I slipped a punch. I got him in a corner, took my gum short out and bit his earlobe off. I bit it off, and spat it out. And the geezer screamed. I didn't expect him to scream. I expected him to give me a right good fight, then try and bash me up as well. But he jumped out of the ring screaming, and everybody jumped in the ring. Everybody from Harvey's jumped in the ring. Yeah, you were the governor. This, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was good. It was a good night. After that, me, Jimmy Tibbet, and a few others went up to Harry Starbuck's pub, and we sat and talked to Harry. I never got to fight Harry, even though we was always talking about it. I never got to fight him. I liked Harry Starbuck as well as a man. Sometimes when you like someone a lot, it's quite hard to fight them. But anyway, we never fought. We never boxed. But he got beat by Roy Shaw. But I was told that he beat Sid Paddock. Which is like, to beat Sid Paddock is a feat, is a feat, as the Sale Jury said. But he beat Sid Paddock all accounts, and that must have been a good fight because Sid can have it, yeah. Anyway, it's just a little bit. I'll finish something later on. I want to do all the fighters that. I'm just going to say that that all the fighters, I must be out of that lot in them days that were fighting, yeah. That heavyweights, I must be one of the only ones left, you know what I mean? I don't know about Lloyd Waltham. I don't know if Lloyd Waltham's still alive. There are a few more that I don't really know, yeah. But the ones that stood out from everybody was Lenny McLean. You got Roy Shaw. They both died. Rest in peace. You got Harry Starbuck. He died. You got the governor of them all, Cliff Fields. He died. Johnny Waldron. I believe he's still alive. Johnny Waldron. I'd love to do an interview with Johnny Waldron, mate, because he was a good fighter, John. He was a good fighter. He was one of the best, mate, on the circuit. He didn't get to fight Sid. No, he didn't get to fight Sid Paddock or Kevin Paddock, or did he? I'm not quite sure. Or he didn't get to fight Cliff Fields, but he was a great fighter, mate. Great fighter. You got Colombo. He's dead. There's so many fighters that are dead, that died of like circumstances. Like I think Colombo died. Was it by a bus? Sid Paddock died, lost a leg, hit by a bus. He died later on. Lenny McLean died, cancer, I believe. Cliff Fields, the governor, he died of drink and all that, and had a heart attack, I believe. Billy Williams, another one, died, heart attack, drugs, drink. They all died of the same thing, mate. And really, all through my life, I know I was a crackhead for 8 years, mate. 8 years, but you know, not took no drugs, not had a drink for over 20 odd years, mate. That's good for me, you know. That's really, really good. That's kept me alive, alive, and yeah. But all them other fighters, we'll have a conversation about him later. Lenny, all them ones are talking about, they're all legends now. They're all great legends. You know, Lou Yates, I don't know what's happened to Lou. Lou's gone very, very quiet. Lou Yates, good fighter, even though Lou said a couple of bad things about Cliff Fields, but that's what boxing's about, running people down, you know, to wind them up. But Cliff Fields, I don't think he'd ever turn his back on Lou Yates. As Lou Yates said, never in a million years. Anyway, bang, 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 I'll do one later on, yeah? Nice one. If I don't go to the gym, right, which I'm going to go to the gym now because it's early, I might go down a boat. And if I go down a boat, I'm wearing this. I'm wearing that. But yeah, anyway, bang, bang, roll later, yeah? Bye.